Hi, class. So I wanted to do a couple problems for 3.4, so present value. So the present value is when you have to think of it as a loan. So you have an amount and you are paying it down, okay? So that's why there's a negative exponent in present value, as opposed to in future value, there's a positive exponent, which means you're building. So negative exponent means it's going to be paid down. So it's a loan. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to just walk through this problem with you so that you can see how to use it. And again, calculator use is super, super important. So make sure that you are following along with your calculator and getting the exact same values that I'm getting. Okay, so here is the problem. So there's the problem. So this is homework 15, so section 3.4. So your present value formula, I'm going to write it up here. The present value formula looks like this. So it's very similar to the future value. And again, notice it's payments. Okay, so present value and future value, you're making payments. The other formula is from 3.1, 3.2. It's just one value, one investment. So here's one of the big differences. So now we're taking one in front and we're subtracting off this section. Okay, the other big difference is our exponent is negative. Okay, super big difference. When you have a negative exponent, that means you're paying the value down. All right, and again, if they don't give you I is the rate divided by the number of compounds. PMT is your payment, monthly payment, yearly payment, whatever it is. And then in my math lab, the N is the number of payments, number of compounds times the time. Okay, so this is the my math lab N, and this is the number of compounds. And this one, get me out of the way. This is also the number of compounds. So sometimes they give it to you where I is already calculated. Other times they give you the rate and the number of compounds and you have to calculate it. So you have to be aware of that. So I already put the answer up here so that you can see this is where we're going with it. Okay, so to set it up, I'm looking for PV for present value. The payments are $290. Notice the 290 is out in front of your fraction. All right, so we're going to get the fraction answer and then multiply it by 290. And then it's 1 minus 1 plus 0.049 raised to the negative 21. This negative is going to catch you. If you don't put that negative in, what you're finding is future value. So make sure you get that negative in there. And then over I, so 0.049. Okay, so this is how you are going to do this. Again, just like with future value, do not round anything until the very, very last step. Hopefully you're noticing, I'm going to put this in red, hopefully you're noticing the instructions, right? Sometimes it says round to 2 places, sometimes it says round to the whole number, sometimes it says round to 3 places. So you have to pay attention to the instructions in my math lab, otherwise it will mark it wrong. Okay, all right, so here we go. So I'm going to do this one step at a time. And again, just like future value, your calculator has no idea how to do order of operations. You have to tell it to do order of operations. So I write everything down. So when you guys take your test, this is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. All right, if you were taking points off of your last test, it's because you didn't show all your work. So make sure you show your work. So in this test, this chapter 3 test, you're going to show me how you set it up. And then you're going to walk through the process. So 1 plus 0.049 is 1.049. That's an easy one. Raised to the negative 21. This is where we start. Okay, we start here. Inside parentheses with the exponent. So I'm going to go 1.04, oops, helps to turn it on, 1.049 raised to the negative 21. Make sure you use your negative sign. Do not use the minus sign. Two different things, okay? To the negative 21. And then I hit enter to get an answer. So I have 1 minus 0.36619699712. I'm not rounding. Don't round until the very, very end. Okay, so that's on top, all over 0.049. And then once we get that answer, we're going to multiply it by 290. All right, so here's where it gets tricky. With future value, you were able to just take this value here and subtract 1, because remember it was 1 plus I minus to the end minus 1. This is future value. Okay, different. Now we are taking and we are subtracting our amount here, this 0.366, from 1. So you have to go backwards. You have to go back to the front and you have to do 1 minus 0.366196712, then get the answer. Okay. Now, some of you, and I'll write this down on top, some of you are going to do this because you're not trusting that what I'm telling you is true. Some of you are going to do this. You're going to take your calculator and you're going to go 1 minus 1.049 raised to the negative 21. Okay, now sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you do 1 minus 1 plus 0.049 raised to the negative 21, that is going to make the negative 21 only on the 0.049. So be really careful. Use your parentheses, okay? Because you want this 1.049, that whole thing is raised to the negative 21, not just the 0.049. Okay, so just be really diligent about making sure that you use your parentheses as much as you can. You can't overuse parentheses. Okay, so I have 1 minus 0.36619699712, and I get 0.63380. Divide that by 0.049. So notice I'm just dividing here, and I'm going to get the present value is 290 times 12.93475569. Again, I'm not rounding. And then I'm just taking that answer and multiplying by 290. And I get 3751.07915. So this is where the rounding the two places. The 9 makes the 7 go up 1. So it's 3751.08. So never, never, never round until the very end, okay? Because if you round too much, you're going to throw your answer off. Okay, I'm going to stop there.